Hi, I'm Bill Gorman for Live Futures Talk, and it's Wednesday, and we're going to talk about the meal market, soybean meal. We talked yesterday about one thing we wanted to watch for was to be careful about a little bit of a reversal and a little bit of an upswing in this market, a bounce off some of these lows. And boy, that was true yesterday for sure. We had quite a violent move to the upside for once, and recently they've all been to the downside. And what we saw was, coming over, off that night market, we saw a much lower opening, and it was very short-lived. We saw a lot of buying, especially in the back months in the soybean meal on the open, and then that buying moved to the front months fairly rapidly after the open. And after that, it was off to the races on the upside. So something we had talked about yesterday actually happened, and it was something to be aware of. I was even stunned by the violent move up, how rapid it was and how quickly it occurred. My guess is they probably caught some people short that were still short that had to cover. That kind of exasperated everything, but it was a move that had momentum and some strength all day. So when you see something like that, as we had talked about, it's something to be aware of, something to be careful of, and it can happen. And we'll talk about the follow-through that happened with that into the night market. That kind of surprised me a little bit too. But then as the market went on overnight, it kind of fell off a little bit. So that's kind of what happened yesterday. Like I said, stronger than I expected. That up move, kind of expecting something to happen, but not as quick as it had. We had an enormous range here when we take a look at the numbers. And the volatility, I think, that maybe not this wide, but the volatility is going to continue here until some of these numbers that we saw in the crop report, the plantings and the soybeans and how much they've gone up. Is that really, an accurate number? How accurate are those numbers? And how is that going to filter down to the meal? And, are people going to be using meal as more of a feed instead of corn, being that the price might be more favorable to do that? So there's a lot of questions that are going to be playing out, and all it's going to lead to is this volatility that we're seeing. We saw a high of 334 on the day, a low of 302, and a close of 330.5, which is up 820 on the day. So just an enormous $30 range there or so, and settle near that high. Now, to the overnight market, I was surprised. I got on about 6 o'clock, and I was actually a little surprised to see us up again, the beans up and the meal kind of following that up in the beginning of the night. And then what happened is we saw a pretty good sell-off, and the beans traded, the meal traded about $8 lower at one point. So I'm going to watch this open today, see how it plays out. You can look at the chart. It seems, and from the numbers that we've seen fundamentally, that we're still, the catalyst is still a little bit of a bearish, note, a bearish downtrend here. But as I said, you got to be aware of these days where we're going to have some kind of reversal on that and have some up moves, and they can be, with the trend being down and people playing it that way, they can be violent like they were yesterday. So I'll see how they open this morning. I'll be watching those beans real carefully. I'll be watching to see what kind of momentum we're going each way, to see if we're going to have any kind of rally off this low, or if we're going to see some kind of follow through and people be on the selling side again. Have a good trading day, and I'm Bill Gorman for Live Futures Talk.